Pedro, for the first time, stepping down out of the hair trailer. He was there, it was like lunch break. And it was like a brief, hello, we're gonna be spending the rest of the year together conversation. And then the first time we like properly hung out was on set filming. Hello GQ, I'm Bella Ramsey, and today I'm gonna walk you through everything I did to become Ellie. Light on the reading, but it has some interesting pictures.
Oh, no.
Casting. I got an email with the description, the sides, and like a deadline. There's like a little room in my house, childhood home, where I was still living because I was 17. Self-tapes are hard, but this one wasn't too hard. It was actually the first time you meet Ellie in the show when I'm chained. And I had no idea what that actually was and what it was going to be like. So I really overacted with the chain stuff. I was like, I'm not supposed to be here! Learning lines isn't something that I find too difficult. Reading them on a page and hearing them out loud at the same time, hearing myself say them out loud, then is cemented in my brain for the time that it needs to be. I don't remember the lines after. I try and learn my lines to a point where they still feel fresh and I'm thinking about it for the first time. Because in everyday life, I've got no idea what I'm gonna say next, right? So complete takes where I got everything right, probably 5 times, and then selected 2. And then it was just a Zoom with Craig Mason and Neil Druckmann, the creators of the show. And we read those same scenes again, but they read in for me instead of my mum. I sprinted around just before that because I wanted to again, have that energy and feel fired up. And I positioned my guitar conveniently in the background of my Zoom frame, just so they knew I could play guitar, because I was aware that was something that Ellie had to do.
You been playing much?
Enough, yeah. It was another few weeks before I knew that I'd got it. I was on another set at the time when I got the phone call, which I was very grateful for. It was really nice to be filming when I got that news. It helped distract me from how surreal it all was. Research. I think I didn't grow up in the industry. Every person that I meet is a new friend, rather than a potential collaborator. I don't really see meetings in that way. Obviously I knew that Neil made the game, but that was it. I didn't really know anything else. They asked if I had played the game, and I said nope, and I was oh no, damn it, I should have played the game. And they were no, that's great, please don't play it.
Put your seatbelt on, Ellie.
Well, what about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
So they were very keen on it being an adaptation and not a replica. There's probably Ashley Johnson in Game Ellie, and there's Bella in TV Ellie. And so that's the difference. It's just a different human being embodying this person. And so of course they're gonna be different, but they can still have the same spirit. And I think that was sort of the case with Ellie. I made this document of what was in her backpack. Flashlight, beef jerky, pun book. Oh, I guess the photo booth pictures, did they even print out? I don't know. There was something in there that I remember was from Riley, and little things that she's collected. I think I put random things, rocks. Oh, and I also did a list of favorite words. Basically every curse word under the sun. I wasn't nervous about the actual filming. I got recognized from Game of Thrones and whatever, but I don't know, I still felt very anonymous, and so the idea of having to travel a lot and do press and have people know who I am more, or treat me differently because of that. I think I was just scared of that's what I was scared about, was the scale of it, for sure. Didn't need to be scared, it's not that bad. Training. I'd had about 2 months of training for season 2 of The Last of Us in Vancouver before we started filming. I went over a couple months early to do that and did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, which is fun, which is Ellie's fighting style. You don't have to be big and tall, you can be little and mighty. Knowing that you're capable of fighting if you need to, I loved that feeling. I sort of was obsessed with looking like Game Ellie, because she's got really cool defined muscles and stuff. I didn't. And Craig was it's about your stance. It's about how you carry yourself differently when you're strong. I don't know, you just walk in differently, I think, if you've got this physical strength and capability. So it was sort of about that. I had a hour personal training session in the morning in a gym, and then a full afternoon of stunt rehearsals and just boxing, weapons training, general combat. So it was pretty full on. I was pretty tired. I ate a bunch, it was great. I realized how little protein I did have before because I'm vegan-ish, but I'm allergic to peas. And pea protein is like the best like vegan source of protein, and I couldn't have that. I started eating eggs to sort of supplement. I'm really exposing myself. I did also have like some whey protein for a while, which was very anti-vegan of me. I've stopped doing that now. The horse riding was less frequent. The like horse wrangler on set was a guy called Danny Virtue. He has a whole ranch, an hour drive outside of Vancouver. We did some like technical stuff, and then we also just like went for a wander, like up the mountains. For costumes, we did have to have multiple of everything because there was a lot of stunt work and a lot of work in the rain, and I had to have dry things. I get dirty quite fast. I spill things also. One of the on-set costumers always made a joke that you could tell what I'd had for lunch by looking at my shirt. I got better at that. Anne Foley, who designed the costumes for this season, really liked input, always like wanted it to be a collaboration. I tried on so many pairs of jeans before this season to like find the perfect Ellie jeans. They were Levi's, and they actually made a specific size for me because I was like between sizes. So they made like a whole batch, and then they got like over-dyed and washed and broken down. It's an incredible process. I didn't keep a pair of Levi's. I went out and bought my own Levi's. The costume designer was like, I could have just given you some. I don't know, I just felt a bit shy asking. Where are you from?
Texas.
What about Tess?
Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I go to school, I know where Detroit is.
I was doing all of the sounds, right? But there's such a physical element to an American accent, funnily enough. I did dialect coach Naomi Todd, who worked with me on that, and she sort of figured out that that was what it was. You just like take up more space with your voice and your body, like with an American accent. And so for me, it was like, as soon as I embodied that, then that clicked. And then I was like, oh, now I feel comfortable in this. Now this feels right, I suppose. Because I feel like the British accents and like the way that I'd acted before was like much more small and like inward and more subtle. It was just a challenge for me to like be bigger and take up more space and be louder.
Tell them that Ellie is a little girl who broke her fucking finger!
We didn't have any rehearsals, season 1 or season 2. We just were straight in, which I really liked. I'm not a big fan of rehearsals. I think it's the like the line learning thing. I like learning something just enough so that it still feels like new and like you're discovering it on the day, in the moment, like you do in like real life. Sometimes a couple of takes in, I'd suddenly like, something would unlock and I'd be like, oh man, there's a whole other like layer to this that I didn't think about before. The first scene that we shot was walking down the corridor into Joel's and Tessa's apartment, and then being in there for the first time and like looking at the book of like 80s music. In my self-tape, I went, 80s means trouble, 80s. And I remember that was the thing that Craig and Neil said. Even in the Zoom audition, they were like, it's 80s. Gotcha. 80s means trouble. You don't do the T.